Welcome to the channel, ladies and gents. This is Shimpimpin. Today I'm going to be dropping some Haitian TikTok scary stories and ceremonies, all of which are derived from Haiti. Let's get right into it and not waste any time. Yeah.
Oui, mon adressé un esprit qui marchait avant. Mais qui ça pour faire? C'est un bagage qui simple. Ou besoin d'un côté de l'eau, ou besoin d'un baleine, ou présenter le côté de l'eau dans quatre façades. Côté soleil levé, côté soleil couché, dans nord et dans sud. Ou faire deux mandats, et puis le fini, ou déposer baleine ça, bon côté ou couché. Ou qu'à prendre une assiette blanc, ou faire un mèche, ou mettez l'huile là-dedans, ou faire demande là-dedans, ou demander pour esprit à venir identifier. Parce que ou pas qu'à faire demande pour dire on va parler avec tel esprit sans qu'on pas connaît qui est vraiment ou besoin de communiquer avec là. Ou besoin d'identifier l'esprit, ou besoin de venir parler ensemble avec vous. Ou faire demande et puis laisse ça esprit à venir parler avec vous.
Wise words from the elder Mama Wata. Fact of the matter is, she just gave two ways that you can use to contact the spiritual realm in order to make demands of the spiritual realm. But you must first make contact with the spirit, and the spirit must inform you which one is going to assist you in this endeavor. So, if you jump in carelessly, a lot of crap may reach you. So, one has to do their due diligence and research first before jumping into such things. Just saying. Do it at your own risk, or don't do it at all.
This one's really short, but I got another story. Still creepy though. This one took place once again while he was patrolling the streets of Port-au-Prince. Oh yeah, this is my uncle's story. This time he was actually alone. He was by himself in the police car and he's just, watching the streets, making sure nothing crazy is going on. Well, something extremely crazy was about to go on. So again, he's looking out his car and he notices a woman walking towards him. This one is a regular woman. There's nothing too crazy about her, except the closer she comes, the crazier it gets. So this woman appears to have something on her head, so she's holding it with that one hand. And with her other hand, she's holding, it wasn't a lamp or a candle or anything. It was basically like a torch, but it was like inside of a container. So like the fire was contained inside of like this container, I guess. So picture this, a torch that's on fire that is inside of a metal bucket. She's holding on to the metal burning bucket with one hand and she has the other hand on her head holding something. She was on the same side of the street that my uncle's car was parked, so she's walking towards the car. Boom, she gets to the front of the car and she starts crossing the street. So my uncle is still trying to figure out how is she holding the fire like that? And as my uncle is watching this woman cross the street, he notices that the bucket that was holding the fire, it's like drops of fire are like falling on top of her feet. She's walking and there's just fire just falling on top of her foot. And this woman was completely unfazed. She was walking so normal, like the fire literally did not faze her at all. And my uncle was just looking at her like, what the fuck? Then she turns around and looks at my uncle and everything around him just went black. Like he could not see within more than 2 feet in front of him. Because like I said, everything was black and the wind just started. So he's inside of his car and he just cannot see shit. And all he's hearing is the wind just gushing outside. Until the lady passed, so did the darkness. It just went away completely. And my uncle was like, well, all right, just another day patrolling the streets of...
Yes, as you heard, that was a very interesting story. For the spiritually connected, weird things do indeed happen, but most people nowadays are spiritually asleep due to the calcification of the pineal. I'll get into that in my video of the pineal gland and the rediscovery in dead black soldiers. Or should I say the rediscovery of the pineal gland in dead black soldiers. Yes, that took place during the 1950s and before. But I have that video, I'll get it posted up soon enough. Let's continue.
In Haiti, you don't see no evil, you don't hear no evil, and you do not speak no evil. Story time. This one's a short one, and we're gonna call it My Grandfather's Journey Home. This is the time my grandfather came home later than usual. So as he's walking home, again, in Haiti, when it gets dark, it gets pitch black. He's in St. Walk, under there, there's literally no freaking lights. He doesn't even have a flashlight. He's literally guiding himself home through pure muscle memory. Now, St. Walk, there's literally trees everywhere. It's a big ass mountain of trees. And people kind of like build around the trees or like cut the trees down to like, you know, make land space and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's the fucking woods. So as he's walking, the first thing he hears are footsteps behind him. So it sounds like somebody's walking behind him. So, you know, he's walking, and then it sounds like the pace of the person behind him is picking up. The footsteps are intensifying, and the footsteps turn from footsteps to full on sprinting and running. My grandfather said he didn't even bother to turn around to check if there was anybody behind him because that was none of his business. His only business was getting home. So he proceeds with his walk, and a little further down, he starts to hear conversations. And it sounds like these people are like really close to him because he can hear what these people are saying. Again, keep in mind, it's pitch black outside. He keeps walking, and then he says this is when people starts calling his name. Tia, epa. But the name calling thing is pretty standard, so that really didn't bother him. The last thing, down the block from his house, he saw his neighbor's house on fire. He is very close to this neighbor, somebody that is extremely close to him, and their house is on fire. And my grandfather sees this on his way home. And surely he stopped to make sure that his best friend, his neighbor, is okay. Y'all, while my grandfather kept walking, he kept walking and he walked straight home. He didn't even look back. He got in the house like it was normal, doesn't say anything to anyone, and just goes to sleep. So I said, wait, hold on. After you just saw your best friend's house on fire, that's a little psychopathic, don't you think? He said because the following day, he woke up, first thing he did was go check on the neighbor's house, his best friend. And when he went out there, he told me it's as though that house was brand spanking new. No signs of a fire, and definitely no signs of anybody being hurt. He then says, imagine what would have happened to me if I ran inside the house telling everybody, guys, the neighbor's house is on fire, and I gathered as many people to run outside with me to go see this house's neighbor, that's the neighbor's house that's not actually on fire. Everybody would have died. He said, Ntaptula. So yeah, even if you see a burning building in Haiti, mind your...
A very interesting case of mind your damn business. Leave that shit alone. The spiritual world has a way of using illusions in order to confuse the mind. And this is one such case, where if he acted upon the burning building, he would have put himself and others in danger. Rather, he chose to ignore it, which was the right thing to do. And if you are ever walking, which I hope you are not, alone at night, in the dark, in Haiti, and you see something like this, you ought to ignore it too. Same thing in Jamaica, but Jamaica is more well lit and nowadays less spiritually connected. But there are still a few.
A scary story that a family member told you that still stuck with you. Every Haitian got a scary story told by a family member. Mine was my mom. She told me once she was heading home with her friends, and some random guy asked them for a ride. They denied him. After a few minutes of driving, they saw the same guy walking out of their car and thanking them for the ride. To me, this story wasn't really that scary. It was more like creepy.
Just a typical duppy story, nothing major. In Jamaica we call them duppies, not ghosts, because they're duppy bats. You see it. So you go.
Creepy story time. So this story was told by my grandfather. He passed away not too long ago. So he went to a party and he saw this beautiful woman. So lima del danser. While they're dancing, he's like, you want to go to my place? She said yes. So they left and they spent the night together. You know what I mean. And the next day, he woke up on top of a tomb in a cemetery. So my guess is the girl was a ghost or he was on something strong.
Well, apparently that was the night that he made love with a duppy bat. Because that was definitely a duppy. Might have just taken some energy from him and left him in the grave. Such is life. He had energy to spare, he took some. That's how it is.
If you're into story times about possession and voodoo and Haitian creepy stories, this might be the story time for you. This story is about my grandmother. She was a huge fanatic of voodoo before she gave it all up. So let's get into it. So like my grandmother, she used to be heavily into this, okay? Like she does this, all right? People used to come to her for like, you know, solutions or, you know, medications. I guess if you want to call them spells, you can call them spells. But yes, my grandmother was heavily involved, so much so that she had her own laws, which would have been Erzulie and Gede. If you don't know them, I would just say look them up. And let me just clarify. I guess you would just call them jab, but I don't know the real actual definition of what a demon is because like he never actually did nothing bad. Anyway, the demon was called Kuze Zakamakut. So basically, a lot of the times when my grandmother would perform a lot of the rituals that she would perform or whatever spells that she would do or ceremonies, I don't know all of it. It wasn't actually her performing them. It was actually either one of the lois or Kuzen Zakamakut. So for example, people would come to her and help with medicine and Zakamakut would take over her and would be the one to perform whatever needs to be performed, would put the herbs together, find whatever needs to be found. My grandmother, I guess you would say, has done a lot of wild stuff under possession because like the spirits, once they do take over, like they have a different appetite, okay? Gede is basically the law or the spirit that transitions people into the afterlife, I guess. He's in the crossroads, something like that. When he would take over, so when he would possess my grandma, she was doing the wildest stuff. Y'all, I have never personally witnessed some of these, but I was talking to my aunt recently, and these are some of the things that she's done under his possession. He loves liquor, okay? And he loves cigars, cigarettes, so my grandmother would just smoke like cigarettes, like packs at a ton, okay? And then just drink like crazy. It was such a fan of the liquor that it would pour the liquor all over, well, I guess my grandmother, it would pour it all over her and even into her private area and like rub it in, okay? He also likes scotch bonnets, so like peppers. So he would take the peppers, rub it in her private areas and all of this all over her as well. She would walk on fire. She would also stand on her head and also like walk on top of her head. And she would also eat glass. Now, I swear if I could just pass y'all the phone to talk to my family, because they still live out there and they still experience a whole lot of this, and a lot of them are still involved in this lifestyle. If I could just get y'all to talk to them. I know a lot of this stuff sounds so unbelievable and so crazy, but like, I swear y'all, like this stuff happens and I am a direct descendant of that. So I lived in Haiti up until I was 11, so I've seen a lot and I've also experienced a lot to know that, listen, you don't have to be scared of a dog for it to bite.
Well, what she's speaking about here, most people would refer to as demonic possession, but what it really is allowing the spirit realm to manifest itself in the person or the practitioner. The spirit she is referring to here seems to be Papa Gede, as Papa Gede is well known to be a lover of spicy foods and rum infused with hot peppers. He also likes cigars, peanuts, roasted corns, as well as black coffee. But he is a fan of the spicy foods and the hot pepper. So, her saying this is definitely allowing Papa Gede to get inside. Continuing on, we have a few stories here of shapeshifters. Deluga, ooh, let's get into it.
That's a shapeshifter. Story time. Growing up in Haiti, or anyone who has Haitian parents can tell you that there is such a thing as shapeshifters, lugauts in Haiti. And that is the reason why they also tell you whenever you hear a cat sounding like that outside your house at a certain time at night, you should not go outside to go see what's wrong with the cat, because usually it's not a cat and you will not live to see or tell the story of what you witnessed. So I remember one time we were all in the house. It was late, very, very late. Usually we'll stay up even though we cannot be outside at a certain time. If you go to Haiti, you should always listen to the locals when they tell you do not go at a certain area, to a certain area, or at a certain time go outside. Because trust me, you won't make it back in the house.
And I'm not even over exaggerating. But anyway, so we were all in the house. We were young, but there was a bunch of grown-ups in the house also. Everybody's sleeping, and we were all waking up by this big boom that was on top of the house. And in Haitian houses in Haiti, they actually don't have like real like roof like we'd have here, but they have like metals. So any little thing you can hear it, even if the rain. We usually are able to fall asleep with the rain sound because it's just so loud and it's so soothing and all that stuff. But when the nightmare starts, trust me, you will hear every single thing. So we're sleeping and we're all waking up by this boom. Even the children, you know how children can sleep real well, right? They sleep through everything. We all were waking up, but the grown-ups already know because they're so used to it. And also we know a well-known lugau in the town that everybody could respect because we know how powerful she is, and a lot of people have been taken out by her, but they can never prove that it was her until one day. So anyways, we're all sleeping and we're waking up by the sound, and we just hear footsteps on top of the house, just walking as if like it's like, you know, grains falling in the house, but it's like real loud footsteps, just walking, and all the adults just start praying, and the children were just scared because we're so used to hearing stories about that happening, and eventually it happened to us. So we're like scared, and the adults are praying, even though like voodoo is a religion in Haiti, they still pray. A lot of people pray but still practice voodoo because that's really our religion. Just like the Catholic people, they also practice voodoo, but also they tell you that it's bad. Anyways, so they're praying. The children are trying to figure out what's going on. Well, the baby, my aunt had a baby that was just a few weeks old, not even a month, a few weeks old. The baby just kept crying nonstop. And they usually, whenever they come in on top of your house, they're coming for the baby, not children who are a certain age. They're coming for the innocent, right? So the baby's crying. The people are praying. So there's a lot going on, and the noise on top and everything. All of a sudden, the noise stopped, but we hear a cat right by the door, literally right at the door, right? This cat just sounded like a baby. It's literally almost matching the sound of the baby that's crying. The cat sounded like a baby, scratching at the door, making noises, scratching at the door, making noise. And that's when the prayers started getting louder and louder. And eventually the children fell asleep because the cat just kept going. I fell asleep because I was young at the time. Then eventually we heard the story the next day, but then what really made us believe it is what we saw the next day, what we experienced the next day. So we fell asleep. The adults, I guess, continued to do whatever they were doing. The next day we wake up to the horror of everything. The baby that was crying was basically covered in ants, covered head to toe, ants eating the baby's skin, everything. I mean, I should have given you guys a warning. Eating everything. But of course, you know, everything is still intact, but the skin is bite marks from the ants. Baby, gone. Pass. Don't know why, don't know how, but the baby's gone. What happened last night happened. Next morning, wake up, baby's gone. And that was the first child that my aunt lost. And then finally after that, she just kept losing children up until 7 kids. She lost 7 kids until she actually stopped having kids. Every time one passed, she has another one. Every time one passed, I'm like, as someone who has common sense, you would think, okay, I'll stop after maybe the 3rd or 4th one. Well, she just kept having children. Eventually, she decided, okay, well, I'm not going to have any more kids if I'm going to keep losing them. But when she had her first son, which is the oldest child, that child survived because she didn't live in the house. She didn't live in that town when she had that child. So that child survived. But eventually, she lost her life to the same thing. And also, I lost my godmom to the same thing. I have a story for that. Also, my older sister who lives right now in the United States, we almost lost her to a neighbor who was practicing brujeria, voodoo. Very good person, good people, but it was a mistake that happened. And we were able to figure it all out. If you guys want to hear about that story, I will tell you. But my mom even sent money for us to buy like coffin for her, preparing for her funeral and everything. Now she's a nurse. Anyway, guys, bye.
Another interesting story. This one is about a practitioner that seems to be doing work against other fellow brothers and sisters. Well, people may call it a religion, I call it a spiritual practice, a way of living, a way of life, so to speak. That's what I consider voodoo to be. Or the practice from Yoruba, of the Orisha, from West Africa. 'Cause this is where it really originates from. I will do a video covering Voodoo, as well as the Loas and the Orishas, the purposes. I'll cover that in a later video. But coming back to this young lady here, a very, very interesting story. Once again, I don't like hearing when practitioners use it against their fellow brothers and sisters, but it is what it is, and that is what happens nowadays, rather than its initial purpose to fight depression.
Someone how my neighbor was a lookout. So at the time I was living in Haiti, and my mama had sent me to get some bread for her, and then I went outside. I saw a cat in front of the door looking at me. In Haiti, it's very weird. A cat standing in front of you, and I'm going left, the cat is going left, I'm going right, the cat is going right. And then it's like I heard the cat said, "I'm fine at mama." So what it means in English is, "You know what, your mom?" So I was so scared, I ran. The next day, I saw the neighbor. The neighbor nodded her head, just like the cat. And then she said, "I'm going to mama." And this is the time I seen a lugao in Haiti.
Yes, cats are the type of creatures that generally avoid you when you're walking in their path. So if you do encounter a cat that is walking left when you're going left and going right when you're going right, you might have to question that. Especially if it doesn't seem like a regular cat in terms of when it vocalizes. But most cats tend to avoid the path of an individual because it knows that it's fragile and can get stepped upon. But Lugao are a bit different.
There's been a lot of chat about on TikTok about shapeshifters and, you know, all that good stuff. And me being Haitian, none of that scared me, none of that surprised me. I feel like if you Haitian, you know, like we've gotten all these stories and we've seen things, I feel, especially if you've gone to Haiti or if you've been around strictly Haitian people, you know, you kind of know. I've seen my mother catch, my mother and my uncle catch spirits all the time. I see a shapeshifter myself. I'll tell you guys about that story in just a minute. Now, the story about me seeing an actual shapeshifter was very interesting. So my grandmother, it was happened like 2 years ago when my grandmother had Alzheimer's. She still has Alzheimer's. She's in nursing home now. But before we put her in nursing home, we had home attendants that would come take care of her. And because my grandmother was Haitian, and she has Alzheimer's, she would go in and out of her, you know, the languages. Because Creole was her first language, she would go in and out of that a lot. And so we wanted someone that could understand her and also cook the Haitian dishes that she was used to. It just made sense, right? So we had this one lady, and she came in, and she was the weirdest. She probably was the weirdest one. Her energy was very welcoming, but it was also very like standoffish at the same time. Like, we would try and direct her and basically train her and tell her what to do to take care of my grandma, like what my grandma needs. My grandma's gonna do this, she's gonna do that, you know. She may fight you, this and that, all that, right? And it came to a point in time where eventually she started to just act very weird. And so my mom was having conversations with her, and the conversation would be great, okay, like, you know, but then she would like flip the conversation and then be rude as fuck. Even if you started the conversation really nice and was explaining something to her, she would just flip the conversation and be rude. Like, it was the weirdest thing. And to the point where everybody in the house had a conversation with her, trying to understand her, you know? And I don't think that was ever done to any home attendant. Usually my mom handled it, which was so weird. It was kind of like she was trying to draw energy from all of us, this lady. Like, it was the weirdest fucking thing. So now, like I said, this lady, and we're tired of her now. So it's like mid-afternoon. We're like, okay, well, you gotta go. We're just gonna let you go. And, you know, that's it. You can go. We went as far as to call her the job, like the hosting place that she was at, and still to no prevail. She didn't want to go. She did not want to leave. It was the weirdest fucking. And so eventually we're like, okay, you gotta go. We try to put her stuff out, and no, it starts to get in a big argument, and I start yelling at her, and I kid you not, when she tried to flip it this time, I saw her true form. It was the ugliest, scariest fucking thing ever in my fucking life. I swear to God, I'm gonna make this 2 parts. It was the most scariest fucking thing I ever seen in my life. And it only happened for a split second. That's the thing with Shapeshifter.
Yes, the spiritual forms, when seen in this reality, tends to frighten the viewer more often than not, because the forms do not seem to be human at all. But it is what it is.
In here. You can say whatever you want to say. You at the wrong house. You better get your butt. You have to go. Don't you ever come up in my house no more. I have my own pets. We didn't ask for you. You better get off my porch. Listen. In here.
No, is it me or was that cat just looking for some pussy? Or was it Luga-woo? I really think that was just a male cat that looking for another cat to get it on. But hey, who knows?
Okay, so the mom had sent a message to warn me that when she was smudging the house, if the energy or entity or demon or whatever you want to call it was bad, that it would constantly attack me once I stepped foot outside of that door, right? So let me tell you. So I have a habit of stargazing. I had this big Rottweiler that was loose, wasn't tied up or anything. So it's about 2-3 o'clock at night. I live in the country, like it's dark, no trees, no street lights or anything, but I had my porch light on. So I'm up stargazing in the middle of the night with my telescope, and the dog is on the porch with me. Now remind you, I have the porch light on. Tell me why I hear something coming up the stairs, right? Just walking up the porch steps. But when I looked over, I didn't see anything. And remember the dog? That dog took off. Like, it was spooked. It was scared. Whatever it was, it scared the dog. And it take off and it's running up under the house. And I'm looking and I'm like, there's nothing there. The porch light is on, but I can hear the footsteps coming up the stairs onto the porch and getting closer to me. So I'm scared. So I tried to go into the house, but some kind of way I was fumbling with the lock and I could not get into that door. So I finally get into the house, right? And I close the door behind me. Why in the hell something shoves me? I mean, face fucking down. Face down. I get up. I don't see nothing. When I tell you nothing, and I get up and I bolt. I bolt down the hallway, y'all. Because I'm telling you, I used to run down that hallway like I was a runaway slave. Because, baby, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. So I thought that was the end of it. So I don't sleep that whole entire night. I don't sleep that whole entire night. I go into my room. I'm in there with the kids because my kids were small at that time. And we are just, they're asleep peacefully. And I'm just in this bitch like paranoid. Paranoid.
Yes, this goes to show that spiritual attacks are in fact real. And they do take place. Yes, when smudging your home with sage, to get rid of evil spirits, you also have to be aware of the evil spirits that lurk outside. If they were in fact inside before, they will get upset. So what you in fact have to do is set up some perimeter protections. Yes, indeed. That will keep them further away of the perimeter and allow you to venture outside without fear of spiritual attack. Yes.
Y'all, this is one of the cases that I just cannot get over. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. This happened around 2020, but this is just one of those stories that I feel like a lot of people need to listen to, because a lot of people get fascinated by these things and these people and get obsessed with this stuff and just go poking into stuff that they're not educated with or that is not meant for them. So if you are not familiar with this story, I'm about to let y'all know what happened. So this 19-year-old self-proclaimed Wiccan decided that she wanted to hex her black girlfriend. Yes, her black girlfriend. And to reach out to Papa Legba. If you're not familiar with Papa Legba, I've made a video about him a while ago. You can go check that out on my page, but I can make a new updated version. But Papa, he is the spirit to the crossroad. That is his job, for to connect with the gateway to the spiritual world. So if you've reached out to this black spiritual deity to hex your black girlfriend. So first of all, many people that I guess like she knew a lot of different people that did voodoo and practitioners and stuff like that did voodoo. They warned her. They said, you're not educated on this. You're just somebody that's probably watched American Horror Story and seen where they portrayed Papa Legba and got a little obsession with it. But you don't know this magic and you're not black. This is a Haitian god. Like you this is not trying to sound like crazy, but this is not meant for you. And Abby, a few weeks later, mysteriously drowned in her bathtub. So, some people that, I guess some people that's into the voodoo and stuff like that, they've reached out to Papa and they said that he said it wasn't him, that they got him mistaken with another Iowa named Baron Samdi. Excuse me if I pronounce his name wrong. But I've noticed a lot of people get those two confused, Papa and him. Baron is, he's another deity, but he is the leader of death. And people somehow believe that he is who she accidentally reached out to, or who came. I don't know if it was an accident or if that's who came instead. But y'all, be careful. I get that this stuff is so fascinating and so interesting, and it's nothing wrong with wanting to learn something new and to learn a different culture and custom. But you have to be respectful, and you got to realize that this stuff is serious. That's what happens when you go poking at stuff that you're not educated on. Stuff like this happens. Believe it or not. I am not messing with none of these gods. They're tricksters, and not all of them are evil. But you gotta think of it as like, cause both of these gods, Papa and Baron, they're older. So that means they're ancestors. They're wise. If you go asking for something from them, they're not just gonna give it to you. They're going to make you work, not work for it, but they're not just going to give it to you. They're going to teach you a lesson. They're going to give you a lesson. So don't go dabbling into things especially that you're not educated and that's not meant for you. But that I just really found this crazy, like this whole situation crazy. Like you thought that you were just going to put a hex on your black girlfriend and over a Haitian god, using a Haitian god to kill or whatever she wanted to do to her black girlfriend. But that was the outcome. That was the outcome. Not saying that she deserved it. I honestly feel like she watched American Horror Story, seen the episodes with Papa Legba on it, got fascinated with it, and she was already a self-proclaimed Wiccan. You're Wiccan. Like I said, there's so many different type of voodoo and magic and stuff like that. Girl, you are not even in the right... You're not even in the right area. But y'all better be careful dealing with some of this stuff just because you're fascinated and look on the internet and find some type of little spell and ritual. No, this stuff is taught. You have to be born into this stuff, y'all. So y'all be careful when dealing with this stuff.
Well, it does help if you are born into the practice. You can also still get into the practice. But once again, if you use it for destructive means, expect the destruction to appear in your life and manifest itself. If you're using a black religion, so to speak, a black spiritual practice to try and affect other black people, what they call gods, which is the manifestation of God in different aspects. Not going to be too happy with that, and pretty much will do things to affect your life negatively. Or just end it. In this case, it was ended. Messing with things that you don't fully understand and comprehend can have ill-fated results, and this is one such case.
Talk about these mermaids that are located in Haiti and Jamaica. If you are well aware of voodoo, you know that lots of people in the Caribbean islands like Haiti, Jamaica, and other places practices voodoo. So what some of these people do is they make deals with the mermaids so that they can get anything they want, whether it's riches, the power to heal, whatever you want, you can make a deal with a mermaid and they will make sure that you get what you want. But you have to give them what they want in return. So when you do that, you bring them what they want, whether it's your child, someone in your family, someone that means something dearly to you, whether it's a piece of salt, whatever they want, you bring it to them and they will make sure that you get your wish. When people give their children or family member up, sometimes they even allow you to come back and see them. But what I heard is they will make sure that the person is mute and sleep and covered so that they won't be able to tell you what is really going down there. Keep watching for part 2.
This one I have to disagree with, because if we're dealing with Mami Wata, well, before I even talk about Mami Wata, when dealing with offerings and sacrifices to the Loa and the Orisha, the moment you've gone into human sacrifice, you've gone too far. Because the Loas, for the most part, will be happy with chickens and goats, as well as pigs and cows, because some of them prefer and like these things. If you're going in the realm of human sacrifice, you're going a bit too far. Now, Mami Wata, who is the representation of the spirit of Wata and the mermaid in African tradition, this is the Yoruba tradition, and this also influenced Voodoo very heavily. The only offerings you need to give her is perfumes, jewelry, items of beauty, freshwater fish, aquatic delicacies, rum, definitely rum, because all of the Loas love rum, and coins and money. And this is the only thing you need to offer Mami Wata in order to gain her favor. Once again, if you've gone into human sacrifice, you've gone a bit too far.
These were never actually monsters. They were victims.
That creator explains the Haitian origins of the zombie monster and how the zombie is actually a victim, not a monster. She goes on to give like a metaphorical explanation for what zombies really are. But I'm gonna tell you what my Haitian mother told me a zombie is. Strap in, cause shit's about to get weird. So this explanation starts with the blowfish. Who remembers the Simpsons episode where they eat the dangerous part of the blowfish? Those who don't know, blowfish is one of the most expensive delicacies and one of the most dangerous foods to eat on this planet. And that's because the blowfish, if you don't chop it up properly when you're preparing it, can be poisonous as hell. So in Haiti, this poison from the blowfish is turned into a powder. And the story goes, if you have done somebody wrong, or somebody feels like you've done somebody wrong, or you're just up to some plain no good, what some people will do is get this powder and dose that person with it. And what this powder does is it mimics death. So you appear to die, and I don't know if it's still like this, but back in the day when you died in Haiti, you were pretty much buried the same day. So your family buries you thinking that you're dead, but the person who dosed you knows that you're really not dead. And so late at night, they go into the graveyard and they dig you up, take you home, and turn you into their slave. Because one of the effects of this powder is that you are still alive, but in a zombie-like state. You can't speak, you can't really do anything except for work. And whoever dosed you and is keeping you captive, that's what they do. They put you to work for the rest of your life. So in that sense, yes.
This is in fact true. There is a long history of biochemical warfare in the history and tradition of Yoruba and Voodoo. The poison she is referring to in the fugu fish is known as tetrodotoxin, which basically causes the brain death It can in fact be completely fatal if taken in heavy doses, but it will in fact induce a state of death and brain death in the individual and cause the effects of zombification as stated.
The shocking truth of the time I witnessed a voodoo ritual. So prior to me turning 8, I used to live with my mom who stayed in Haiti. I don't remember the specific details, but I remember one night my mom wasn't feeling good, so she took us to a house to go get treated. Which is weird because we have hospitals in Haiti, but as a kid that is 5 years old, no matter where my mom's go, I'm safe, right? So we're at these people's house and there's a whole bunch of chanting, music happening, dancing, fire everywhere, and just craziness happening. And you can imagine I'm scared out of my mind, so all I want to do is stay with my mom. But somebody came and took my mom to another room, and they told me that I had to stay in that room. So I hear a whole bunch of chanting and talking coming out the room that my mom went to, so I snuck away and went to go look. And while I'm looking, bro, I just see my mom swinging in the middle of a circle, fucking looking possessing shit, and I'm confused. So they pulled me away from the door and closed the door. And my only question is, why did I have to go? My sister's older than me. She's way more mature. She wouldn't have done this. Why did they pick me to come? And I've dead-ass been trying to answer that question my whole life. All I can say is share this and comment on this, and if it get 50k views, I'm gonna drop a part there.
Only thing I can say is that part of initiation is exposing you to it at an early age in order to be desensitized to the information as well as the practices, so you basically get used to it and it's no longer a surprise. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Continuing on, we have some of these same voodoo ceremonies that science just cannot explain. Here you go.
De abajo. Este es uno de los videos más debatidos. Quédate hasta el final para que veas cómo lo hacen, pero detalla bien la parte donde la señora pasa y luego se ve.
throwing this one in just 'cause you're a beautiful girl, Queen. Yay.
The God who created the earth, who created the sun that gives us light, the God who holds up the oceans, who make the thunder roar, our God, who has ears to hear, you who are hidden in the clouds, who watch us from where you are. You see all that the white has made us suffer. The white man's God asked him to commit crimes, but the God within us wants to do good. Our God, who is so good, so just, he ordered us to avenge our wrong. It is he who will direct our arms and bring us the victory. It is he who will assist us. We all should throw away the image of the white man's God, who is so pitiless. Listen to the voice for liberty that sings in all our hearts.